Hello, humans. Happy Monday. Welcome to the Trevor Kashey Nutrition monthly Ask Me Anything. Every month, the TKN team of experts goes live inside of our private Facebook group where people bring us their burning questions about nutrition, diet hacks, performance, and more. And we do our best to walk them through what actually works in the real world. So if you're ready to transform yourself and create a life worth living, click the link below to schedule a call. We can't wait to have you as a member of TKN. Now, my name is Helgi McNiff, and yes, that is my real name. I'm the head coach here at TKN, and joining me today are coaches extraordinaire, Full Nelson Thompson and Ben Hot Fudge. And just to round things out, we have our manager of advanced programs, Miss Tiny but Mighty Michello. Now, one of the things that we got was a great question because this gives us a great perspective on how all the coaches perceive different things as difficult. So the question that we got were, what are the most difficult things the coaches have ever participated in? Pop Wedge, why don't you go ahead and kick this one off for us?
All right, Hug, what are we going? We going physical, emotional, spiritual, like
All of the
That's a,
above.
all of
that is a great
all of the
question because
above.
for
All right.
me, I don't consider anything physical hard, but I'll tell you what, dealing with my emotions is the most difficult shit that you've ever seen me do. So you take your
Dude,
pick, Ben.
right? I would say physically humbling, but also spiritually humbling. Dude, some of the movements that we were doing while we were deployed to Afghanistan were some of the most mentally and emotionally challenging things to boot because it was like we'd go and then you're just attacking this mountain and it's going from 11,000 up to 12,000 in like 2K and like you're just hating life being like how am I going to get through this thing but it also shows you a lot of really good challenges where your fitness levels can improve. It identifies, hey, I've got to get through this. How am I going to get through this? How am I going to will myself through this? How am I going to train when we get back and identifying problems to be able to continue to move forward if this is going to be our status quo. And so it was one of those things that really identified weak spots within our training, within our movements, and allowed us to really attack a problem set deliberately to be able to attack those problems more on purpose with purpose. Nelson, I know you've done some really hard things as well. So
So
like,
I was in
what do
the
you got?
same questioning side of you where it's like mental or physical, right? Because like the mental shit is always the hardest side, but I'm gonna go physical as well. The Cocodona just started today, guys. I don't know if you've been watching. I am a big fan of it. Last year, I pace set it for one of my members doing the Cocodona 250. One of the more challenging things, just actually, it's psychological, like you were talking about, Ben, right? Like doing things long enough to where you're just mentally broken. Really, really fun shit. So I did that last year, not probably doing it again anytime soon. However, you never know. You know, when you're outside of it, you're like, maybe I'll fuck around with that again. We'll see.
Is that the one you did with Jess Colco last year?
Yes, yeah. So I did it with a
Okay.
member last year. It just started up again this year. I'm just watching. Maybe I'll go down and support from the sidelines. Not going to be pacing anytime soon. But I'll jump over to Mel for this too.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The physical things, like when you can just kind of white knuckle it, like Mr. Solomon said in the chat here, like just kind of overcome your emotional boundaries. Where the physical events really make their money. But I tell you what, nothing has challenged me like being a parent. Having kids hits you on all levels, the physical, the emotional, the spiritual. Dr. Wedlicki sometimes jokes about going to meet God, like when you go to work out, just pushing yourself to the max. Kids do that to me on the daily. So I've got two. I've got a 10-year-old and a 4-year-old. And let me tell you, going a week without sleep and then going to work the same time, it doesn't even compare. I've done 20 years in the Marine Corps. Granted, I didn't see combat like some of y'all did, but I've done my fair share of physical challenges, and nothing has pushed my limits emotionally, physically, spiritually, like having kids. I'm sure a few of you out there can probably relate, but yeah, that really is
Not me.
a tough one. I work on
But
every day.
it's super cool because it's like all of those stressful situations, all of those things that we're dealing with at different levels, like it bridges that everything is relative to the context and the situation that we're in, right? And it shows how much Mrs. Masello cares about being a good parent, right? And just because something is real, you're feeling it, it makes it real. The stress you feel during these events is real. And identifying that, is that real, rational? Is it like, and so it allows you to identify the purpose and really work towards improvement, which is pretty damn cool.
And you bring up a really good point, Ben, is the things that matter most to you often are the things that elicit the strongest emotional response. So when my kids do something and it challenges me, or I get really upset or really emotional about it, it just highlights that, hey, this thing matters to me. And it matters to me so much that I want to get better at it. And I'm willing to put in the work in order to improve my behavior so I can have better outcomes, not just for myself, but for the people around me.
Guys, that's what I want you to take away from what Will just said there. If you feel that strongly about something, that should be your spider sense that, hey, I need to now go ahead and set up a system. I need to train behaviors to make sure I'm going to be successful about this thing. Because we know that our emotions are very, very mercurial. Like, hey, I can feel very, very strongly about this thing right now, but in 10 minutes, I may not feel as strongly. Something else may have changed in my environment. But if you can sit there and take advantage and strike while the iron is hot, you remember how upset you felt. You remember the hurt that you felt. You remember the joy that you felt in those types of occasions. Well, now I can say, how do I make sure I can replicate that in the future? What can I put in place to make this more easily attainable? Dude, Mel, that is such a great takeaway to that. I love that. And dude, that is a great segue into our next question, since we are talking about the difficulty in perception and how would you handle cravings or urges in the moment without relying on willpower?
Oh, Huggy, I absolutely love this question because most people think that a craving is something that you're supposed to fight, that the only way to overcome it is by white knuckling your way through it with this mystical thing called willpower. Willpower, guys, willpower is just a collective or collection of behaviors that have been reinforced. And a craving is your brain trying to predict relief based on what's worked before. So if you get stressed, and the way you typically handle stress is reaching for the peanut butter jar. That was me back in the day when I would get stressed out because of my kids. And when you do that and you have that peanut butter, it just reinforces the behavior of going to the peanut butter jar every single time. So good luck using willpower to break the behavior or change the behavior. So the willpower bone just doesn't work because it doesn't exist. And so if you look at the behavior itself and ask instead, what problem am I trying to solve right now in the moment? Do I need a break? Do I have enough energy? Do I just need 5 minutes away from other people that need me right now? If you create that space from whatever that stressor is, the stimulus, and whatever your response is, reaching for that peanut butter jar, then you have a chance at changing the behavior. You are giving yourself a fighting chance of establishing new behaviors that will positively be reinforced to bring you your desired outcome. If you don't want to reach for the peanut butter jar, go for a walk instead. Do something else instead. And practice the behaviors that will bring you closer to your goals instead of willpower.
Dude, I love that because that was still one of the best things that Dr. K said to me because I think I was making that same sheet. I just don't have the willpower for this, or like, man, it's just maxed out. And he said to me, he was like, yeah, Huggy, do me a favor. Let's go ahead and break out a cadaver. Let's cut that bad boy open and you show me where that willpower gland is on there. I'm like, wait a minute, what? And so we were sitting there. He's like, no, let's go ahead and go on an anatomy chart. Show me where the willpower is located. How do we go ahead and refuel that? And it doesn't exist. And so I love that. Like, that doesn't mean that you have to be limited by this imaginary thing. Now we can just focus on what will work for us in the future.
Exactly. Stay busy, right? Because we tend to be
Yes.
very hyper focused. Once we start getting that craving, it's like, I'm focused on the craving, and that's all I can think about. It's like, all right, go do something. Go stay active. Go get those hands busy. Go get the mind busy. Because you'll find, hey, feelings, cravings, they usually last about 90 seconds, especially if it's an emotional response. And like, those feelings are gonna go quick. And especially once you start getting busy doing something, heck, if you have a house, an apartment, car, something needs cleaned. Take 5 minutes, go spruce it up, set up your environment, and then it's like, hey, that craving's gone. Stay busy.
Dude, actually, let's put this into play right now because someone actually put something similar to this in chat where he said, I brute force myself through my emotions when I don't want to do my workout. But the issue is I'll waste my time and my emotions to take twice as long to finish the workout. And therefore, it feels like I'm playing on hard mode. What strategies do you use to push through difficult emotions during a workout? Now, I'm just going to be really, really precise because I love to bust in the language here. So, Solomon, whenever we talk about feelings, I like to break things down into two different components. Okay, your feelings are comprised of both your physical sensations, like, hey, man, how's my body feeling today, and my emotional responses and reactions. So when you're talking about, hey, it feels like it's taking you twice as long to finish a workout, are you talking about, oh my God, this is just overwhelming for me and I am emotionally just taxed out? Or is it, man, it's taking me physically longer because my body is hurting? Because the strategies that we use to employ that are going to be two entirely different things. Okay, emotional reactions to past memories, man. Well, then what I would say is what you can start doing is start actually collecting the data when you complete the workout. Because if you're still getting the workout done, it's taking you twice as long. Well, that's a metric we can compare. Here's Solomon on a good emotion feeling day, took him an hour to do the workout. Here's Solomon on a bad emotion feeling day, took him 2 hours to do the workout. But what's really cool is the workout got done on both days. Now all we need to do is start making that bad emotion day to start to demonstrate more good emotion. So we want to do it more often. So whenever you're feeling emotionally bad, what can you do to go ahead and reward yourself for getting that workout done? What can you give yourself to look forward to? For me, I like bath bombs, bud. So I know if I go ahead and I get these workouts and I'm sitting there and I get my 20 rep squats done and I know I've wrecked my body, I get to reward myself by throwing one of those awesome lush bath bombs in and sitting in the tub and just zoning out for a little bit that night. Then how do you usually push yourself through in those situations?
The question I was going to have for Solomon is it a problem that it lasts 2 hours, right? Like you're still getting it done, right? And now if it causes second and third order effects, okay, great. Now we're dealing with an efficiency problem, right? Which is entirely a different problem set to solve, right? Because rewarding yourself for getting it done allows you to keep doing it, right? Exactly. It's an efficiency problem. So identifying, hey, okay, what is the purpose of the workout? What am I trying to do? I'm trying to go into the gym. I'm trying to work my hard and get done, right? And so recognize that in both situations, both of those workouts get done, right? And so, okay, now you identify how can I still get this done? What is the purpose of the workout? How can I get through it? And sometimes workouts take 2 hours. It's okay. You still get it done. Give yourself a pat on the butt when it does take 2 hours. And it's like, also recognizing incremental progress, having that expectation that it's taking twice as long. Well, what is the progress in making it last half as long? Is an hour 45. That's net progress. You just gained 15 minutes, figuring out how you can pull out the synergies. Where in that 2 hours can you pull out that flex point? Do you spend time working on your phone? Then it's a phone problem. Identifying what you get caught up in that allows that to drift into that 2 hours, and where can you pull out that dwell time? Nelson, what do you got?
I'm going to come at this from the opposite direction here, where I actually like to set a timer for a shorter amount of time during these moments. And so, again, for me, when I'm starting a workout, Solomon, I don't know if it's going to be a physical sensation or an emotional reaction just yet. If I set myself a 20-minute timer, that feels way more freaking attainable than going in for the full hour. And so in these moments here, if I set myself up with something that feels attainable, then within that 20 minutes, either that emotional, reaction is going to subside or it's going to be an actual physical problem. And so from there, I'm going to then identify whether or not I'm physically feeling like shit or if I'm just having a pity party. Then I can either continue to go forward with my training or I can decide to go home. From there, I have reinforced the behavior of still showing up for myself, even during those crappy times. But then I can decide whether or not it is that emotional reaction or that physical sensation at that point. But I'll jump over to Mel as well, see what she's got.
Honestly, I'm with you, Nelson. I like to kind of look at it from the perspective of minimums. I'm going to go to the gym and I have a workout for that day. And if there's a day where I'm just emotionally taxed on whatever it is, then I will go in and see what I can get done and leave the expectations at the door. And so if I go in and I've got 4 or 5 exercises planned out and I only get to 2 of them, I showed up, just like Nelson was saying, showed up and did something. And if that's my minimum for that day, that is better than nothing at all. And self high five, great job. Come back in refreshed and ready to attack it again tomorrow. And if it's 3 exercises the next day, or if I was able to push myself a little more, recognizing it, as Huggy said, collect the data that, hey, I still wasn't feeling great, but I still did a little bit more. That's progress. And those small wins, man, those small wins add up over time. So keep showing up. And if all you can get is the minimum, that's okay.
Now, let's talk about a template for how we can put that into play. So I'm going to use a nice little story about Ben Fudge just sitting here busting my balls a couple of weeks ago. So when we have these moments where, like what Solomon was talking about, where, hey, either you're physically just feeling like shit, which is me pretty much every single day, or you're emotionally just a huge child, which is also me every single day. Oftentimes you don't want to go work out. So this is like, as we're getting ready for the photo shoot, I'm sitting there texting Ben, just whining. I don't feel like going to work out. So after he got done making fun of me about how much better Rangers are than SEALs, and he can't believe a SEAL's whining about this, the advice he gave me was dress for the gym and go start your warm up. Like, even if that's all I did for the day, if I get dressed and I show up to the gym and I start the warm up, if at the end of the warm up my body is still in that much physical pain that I can't complete it, at least then I know I was physically stopped. I didn't make the decision to quit. I was physically stopped. And now I can still maintain my integrity. I did what I said I was going to do, and I can feel good about myself. And then I can actually address the physical problem so I can come back and be more successful. And if it was an emotional thing, well, hey, just getting Orton to break that inertia and showing up and creating that momentum is oftentimes a huge game changer in and of itself. So that is the advice I'm going to give to anybody as far as getting the workouts done is make sure that you have your clothes set out the night before, the hour before. Make sure that you have something that you like to wear so that you get excited about putting it on, get your little uniform for the gym. I know I have my cool Superman shirt for my squat days. And make sure that you are excited and go show up, get your warm up done, and that way you have something to reassess on.
And
Great.
if I could really quickly, so Solomon just added in there, I've dealt with this alone for years. Solomon, you don't have to be alone, man. Come work with one of us. This is something that we specialize in where we work with you on changing those behaviors, identifying those behaviors, and building strategies that help you be successful long term. So if you want to change your behaviors, man, like come work with one of us. Send us a message and we'll get you started.
Dude, that is great advice. And that actually plays into the next question, which is I want to get lean for the summer. Where should I start?
Come sign up with me. Are you kidding me? Let's go. Like that's the easy part. Let's do it. Like take the first step. Figure out like sign up with me. That's exactly where go figure out where you're at, right? Establish your baseline behavior. Start gathering your awareness, what you eat, how you eat, when you eat, gather what you're currently doing. Because a lot of times we get so overwhelmed, we just throw every change in the book just at this problem. I want to solve this right freaking now. But so much variability is thrown into the equation at once that you lose control over those situations. So just start tracker where you're at now. Then after a couple of weeks, you've gotten the skill of tracking down. You feel a little more comfortable. You understand your logistics, especially in context. Change one variable. Change your calorie target, especially if it's getting lean and losing weight. Change the calorie target first. Go down, then you know, okay, my body does X, Y, Z when I change this variable. You now know what works. Because ultimately, at some point, you're going to hit some level of stall, whether it's because of situations or, hey, you've just worked the skill to the point of like, this is where my current level of skill is at. Then you can look at the data. You see exactly what works, what is getting you closer to your goal. And then you can be like, okay, I changed my calories. That's where this is going. That's what the result was. And you can do more of what works. You stop guessing and do things on purpose with purpose.
And actually, Solomon, I'm dumb, so I'm actually going to take this a step back from where Ben is. Before I started changing anything, I was making sure I was doing the exact same freaking thing every single day. Am I going to bed at the same time all 7 days every single week? Am I getting up at the same time every single day of the week? If we're not having some type of consistency, well, then all you're doing by changing things is introducing more variables. Create a consistent system so that way we've got a good baseline, and that way we can start making changes that will move you towards what you want and away from what you don't. But if you don't have any type of variable, like all of us will sit here and do an assessment, like, yeah, I eat pretty good. Yeah, that means because I follow my plan Monday through Friday, but then starting Friday night, I go out and I get drunk with my friends, and then God knows what happens. And fuck everything because tomorrow is Taco Tuesday and Cinco de Mayo. So this week is just completely gone. But if you are the type of person that it doesn't matter what day it says on the calendar, because dude, I still have these things to get done and I'm still checking these boxes, you're going to make a lot faster progress. And so it's again identifying precisely where you are so that way we can make progress, which again is a great question for Nelson, because what are a lot of the mistakes that people make regarding nutrition and fitness?
Oh my God, we're just dumping right into it here. I believe it's changing too much too quickly, like we just talked about, right? We want to get progress and we want to do it in a place that's probably going to be too expedited and it's going to cause long-term issues. This is something that I have done repeatedly in the past. I like to talk about it with my members as like the pendulum, right? I pendulum towards eating everything, starving myself, or eating everything, then starving myself, not working out, then working out every single day for 4 hours. That's the stuff that kind of sets up this pendulum and feeling like we are yo-yoing and we have no hope. So This is where rarely how it plays out for most people, and it's only something that you can stick to for a limited time. This is because the changes made are unsustainable long term, and this is the challenge that a lot of people run into because they don't have a coach for the long term haul. What we do as coaches here are supporting you in identifying your life worth living. Your life worth living is not something that you do in 90 days. This is something that you are supposed to do for the rest of your life. And so it's about learning how to essentially mitigate those swings back and forth, learning how to find that baseline like Huggy was talking about. Not just for that 90 days, but again, 900 or the rest of your life. Because of this, small, sustainable changes and meeting yourself where you currently are is how you can do that, like we just talked about. Start with identifying current behaviors, make dedicated focus on specifics that you can create a plan of attack for. From there, you have the data to see whether the changes is working in one way and then whether or not they're going to be unsustainable. From there, you will make progress. Just keep yourself as consistent as you possibly can. We talk about it where it's not about the 75 hard, it's 365 days moderate. It's doing the same thing each and every day to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success.
That's huge, Nelson, because I think one of the biggest sayings that I asterisk in the fitness and nutrition sort of realm is people are like, it's a marathon, not a sprint. But at the same point,
Yeah.
both of those things are races. And so what happens when, right? What happens when you finish your quote unquote race, right? Are you going to suddenly just go back to old behaviors? Well, then you're going to end up exactly back where you started. And so understanding that this is a lifelong endeavor. This is not about 12 weeks. This is not about a year. This is about how you live your life and the behaviors and the skills that you develop through going through these processes so that you become the type of person that can do that 365 moderate. It's about learning those skills to live your life 365 moderate by adapting stress management skills. How do you apply on vacation? How do you do these skills and behaviors across the broad spectrum of emotions, situations, contexts that everybody finds themselves over the course of the year and over the course of their life?
Now, this was a really nebulous concept for me when I first got started because, again, I'm going to emphasize I'm dumb. So, one of the best ways for me to actually put this into play was Dr. K had me say, hey, Huggy, what does your best day look like? What would you be doing? What would you look like? And so I was like, man, Huggy would get up. He's going to sit there, admire himself in the gym or admire himself in the mirror because he's really happy with the progress his week made. Probably go have an awesome workout, probably hang out with some friends, have a great day, come home, have some great sex because like I'm in great shape. Everybody wants to be with me at this point. And then he was like, great. Well, then how are you going to achieve those things? Like, if you're the type of guy who's going out and drinking every single weekend, well, then when does that leave you time to work out, have great sex, and make sure that you can actually prepare yourself and develop this work capacity? And so, if you take the approach of, hey, this is what successful me does, and this is what their daily routine would be, and then you start implementing that daily routine into your current one and making those small changes, well, it's not going to produce the dramatic, sexy results that we all want in 12 weeks, but I can tell you it's going to produce sustainable results that you're going to be able to really maximize on for the rest of your life. And you're going to be able to do it in a way that isn't going to be driving you fucking crazy. And if you want direction on how to do that, you come work with us because we are all amazing at this. Like, trust me. All right, let's see what else we got for to be able to wrap it up with. What is one small habit, just a quick one from all the coaches here, that you guys all rely on when your life feels busy or chaotic? Let's start off with Mel here.
Honestly, I'm going to just go back to minimums, Huggy, because when chaos happens, life happens, and you didn't do the thing that you originally intended, it's real easy to get into this self-deprecating cycle. You beat yourself up. I didn't go to the gym, so therefore I am a failure. I didn't do XYZ, therefore I suck at life. Instead of doing that, you can set yourself up for small wins. So, for example, my youngest, again, I'm going back to the kids here, my youngest likes to throw up in the car. He gets car sick every day. And I thought at one point we were past it. So I had this whole plan. We're going to go drop off at school, which is 30 minutes away, mind you. Drop off at school. I was going to go to the gym. I had all of these things lined up. It was going to be awesome. Not only did he throw up, but he threw up all over the back of my car in traffic. So we had about 2 hours worth of traffic to get to and from school. So my timeline was screwed up. I had to clean my car. Everything kind of got thrown to the winds. And instead of beating myself up or slashing all the tires and throwing the day in as a complete loss, I just went back to my minimums. Can I go for a walk for 20 minutes? Yes. Can I do one thing that will move me forward today? Also, yes. Was it what I wanted to do? No, but it was my minimum. And that was good enough for me.
I love
Ben,
that.
what you
Nelson, what about you, bud?
So I'm going to take it super, super simple here and just collect the data on the chaotic time. And so, like, when we're going into these situations here, we're all going to run into these crazy times that are going to suck. Our life is going to suck at some point, and we want to be aware of how we behave during those times. I'm not saying collect the data of just your tracking of your nutrition. Collect on the behaviors, collect on the awareness of how you feel, how people respond around you, how you respond to others. Be aware of all of these factors that are going to impact how you go forward so that you can do something different the next time that it happens, because life is going to continue to kick us in the face. Chances are, Mel, it sounds like the kids have thrown up in the car more times than once. And so if we at least have the data to say, okay, this happens this amount of times, this is how I want to respond going forward. This is what we can do differently. This is how you can get power in these moments and continue to move forward. And that's why we talk about awareness being one of the biggest 4A's that we have here, is being aware so that we can create some change going forward. Ben, what you got to add?
I got a couple actually. One, sleep, go to bed. Like go to bed on time, because that is also how you stop the sort of self-deprecating cycle, right? You improve your frustration tolerance. And then biggest one is take action, right? When life is busy and chaotic, it's usually because we've got so much shit. We've got so much on the list of things to do. How do you make that list smaller? By doing something. And start with the one that you think you can do in the next 5 minutes. Just start checking things off. And as you start checking things off that list, when things are busy, you'll find that that momentum grows, and that one task leads to the next, which leads to the next, which leads to the next. And then you've got all this confidence that you can handle it and work out that to-do list, those busy, chaotic times, and you'll find that it shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. And then you're like, holy shit, I'm 50% done. Let's keep going. Like, just start. And then that sleep just refills that frustration tolerance, and it stops from one day spilling into two, spilling into three, just through working that first foundational pillar.
Now, for me, guys, I'm going to say precision language. Make sure that you're actually aware of what's going on. Did you really have the worst fucking day of your life, or did you have a really bad drive home that kind of eclipsed everything else as far as the normal day goes? Because if you can precisely identify what problem you're trying to solve, it's going to make everything else much easier. I don't know how to solve the problem if you just had the worst fucking day of your life. But if you had a bad drive home, I could probably make some suggestions that are going to make things better for you for tomorrow. And then we're going to be able to collect that data, show continuous improvement. So for a spoiled, entitled brat like myself, being precise with what problems was really a game changer. Now, guys, that looks like about time. So I want to thank everybody for joining us for this month's TKN Live AMA. And if you're ready to actually take action and start making decisions on purpose, with purpose, and build that life worth living, click the link below and schedule a call. And remember, guys, it's like what Ben was saying. We all know what we should be doing, but it's the taking action. Let's go ahead and stop that dysfunction and create that connection and start getting you to where you want to be today. Thank you guys all so much. We're looking forward to seeing you next month. Take care.